I'm extremely disappointed in humanity. When I was in the Navy in the late 90s and I was first introduced to the internet, I was blown away. I couldn't get enough of it. I thought to myself, my son's generation, the millennials, will be the smartest generation that ever walked the face of the earth. At the press of a button, they have access to innumerous information from any information that can be found in any of the libraries across the globe. So, with that being said, it shocks me that even with all of this access to information, there's still a lot of falsehood that's being spread. That's one of the unseen consequences of the internet. Not only can you get information that's factual at the speed of light, you can also get falsehood spread at the speed of light. Many things that had been refuted and debunked ages ago before the advent of the internet have been given new birth because of the internet. One of those things is the book known as The Protocol of the Elders of Zion. That book had been discovered as a fabrication, but now it's been given new birth and being spread, and people are believing it. And also more anti-Semitic information that found new light is the term known as blood libel. It was a term used in the Middle Ages in Europe that stated that Jews engaged in witchcraft and they would kidnap and sacrifice Christian children and dip their unleavened bread in their blood. And now, because of the internet, we now have this lie being enacted or re-perpetuated with saying that the Rothschilds restarted the Illuminati, who are Jews, by the way, and they're engaging in this blood libel in the 21st century. And another thing that is very discouraging in this age of light and knowledge is the statement, more people have died due to religion than anything else. Just doesn't seem to want to go away. This statement can be traced back to Karl Marx. It's obvious that Karl Marx was an ignoramus of history and anthropology. We human beings are classified as mammals for good reason, because we have a lot of characteristics with other mammals, such as we have an alpha that is the ruler, the leader of others, and there's never been a time in human history where there hasn't been an alpha. So for Karl Marx to make the statement that we need to return to an age when we didn't have any government or rulers, we agree through mutual cooperation, is falsehood. And also the belief that everything bad that ever happened was because of religion, and that religion poisons everything, of course, ignores historical realities about the benefits that can be traced back to monotheism. In fact, one example that can't be argued against is that because of the custom of the Jews sweeping out their houses on a weekly basis, kept them from suffering from the Black Plague, not just in Egypt, but also in Europe. So if it wasn't for that custom and a series of rules and regulation that guide your life and prevents you from engaging in harmful things, the value of that can't be denied. And if one just does simple mathematics, you'll know that this isn't true. Such as, according to estimates, there have only been 16 billion human beings that have walked the face of the earth. And right now there are 7 billion people alive today. So almost half the world's population is alive today. So therefore, it's not possible for more people to have been killed before the age of technology from religion than what happened since the age of bombs and tanks and stuff like that, and this age of secular ideologies. All one has to do, like an elementary school kid, when they want to write a one-page paper or something for school, is they do their little kid research, which is just to go to Wikipedia and find it out. And that's all any person with somewhat of average intelligence can find out. So it amazes me people still follow Karl Marx and his failures in secular ideology. If one goes to Wikipedia and looks up secular, or if one goes and finds religious wars, you'll find that they have an entire body count of all of the wars that were could argue that are fought over religion. Even though technically the Crusades were not fought over religion, the Crusades were fought over territory. Strategic territory, the land of Asham, all of the lands north of Arabia. That was essentially the center of the world when it came to trade at that time. Everybody had to go through the Middle East in order to get to where they had to go. So therefore, it was the epitome of trade. So therefore, that's why the European powers wanted it. It wasn't, they just manipulated the ignoramuses to fight for them concerning they needed to get the lands back from the infidels, but that had nothing to do with it from the people on top. So that, but for the sake of argument, I have done the math, and I even listed the Crusade amongst the death toll for religious wars, and I also added the genocide of the Native Americans and the deaths of the Muslim conquest of India. Even, like I said, none of those things had to do with religion. They were just a justification for religion. But for the sake of argument, I added those along with Wikipedia's list of religious war death counts. And if one adds all of those up, you will come with a number of 205,750,000. Now, if one goes on the list of wars and anthropogenic disasters by death toll, which lists all of the deaths from natural disasters, wars, and genocides and plagues on this list. And so I've used genocides and war. So therefore, if you add all of those together, you get a number of 706,051,600. So therefore, one doesn't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out which is the bigger number. So therefore, it is absolutely false that more people have died over religion than anything else. Yes, the number is great, but of course secular ideologies is greater, which shows that if the idiots from Zeitgeist, the movie, have their way, and all religions were vanquished upon the earth, death would still continue, wars would still continue over meaningless ideologies like socialism and democracy. That's just seemed to be the nature of man. Man, since the beginning of time, has fought and killed over resources, or the fear of not having those resources. So therefore, as long as people have that greed or that need to want of self-preservation, then we'll continue to have murders from wars, and we'll continue to have genocides. And that's just the reality. There'll never be a utopia as pictured in Star Trek. As Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson mentioned, human beings haven't shown that they won't kill each other on Earth. So if they're in space in spaceships, they're still going to kill each other. So that's never going to happen. And that's just the reality of human beings. We have a need not necessarily to destroy each other, but we want to sustain our own beings. And that's just it.